Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, spin on the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. What a weekend. That's all I gotta say. With Trump's assassination attempt, who knows how the market's gonna respond. I looked at the weekend Wall Street and it was like down 50 points back this early this morning. So who knows where the market could open up, if the market will even react, if they will have any volatility with that. It's just going to be an interesting next couple of days. So it's just crazy what happened. Don't really know what to say. Just didn't think I'd ever witness anything like that in my lifetime. But Democrats are just desperate. So, I mean, who knows the motive behind it. But anyways, I'm not going to go into any more about it. I'm just going to focus on the trading this week. I don't like talking about political bullshit. So put to call ratio right now is really not that high. It let me think, I have to double check. I think it's like 0.62 or something, 0.57. It's really not that low. It's kind of on the lower side. But like I said, we'll have to see how the market reacts today when the futures open up overnight. But it doesn't matter what happens overnight. By the time morning comes, the market will chop, I'm sure, range, because all the excitement will happen overnight. It's like it always does. Nothing ever seems to happen during market hours. Happens pre-market. Then when the market opens, it either gaps and grinds or ranges, and we just don't get nothing. So kind of sucks. But as far as the economic calendar for the week, Monday we got Powell speaking at 12. We have Empire State Manufacturing Index at 8 a.m. So yeah, 8 a.m. and noon Powell. Tuesday pre-market we got retail sales, core retail sales at 8:30. Nothing else. Wednesday, a Fed speaker, a couple of Fed speakers during the day in the morning at 9 and 9:30. That's it. Really, nothing else. That was Wednesday. Thursday we have unemployment claims. Couple Fed speakers. Friday, couple of Fed speakers. So yeah, just Fed speakers here and there throughout the week. But the big one is going to be Powell at noontime on Monday, and core retail sales at 8:30 on Tuesday. So those are going to be the big ones to watch out for. As far as VIX, I mean, VIX it's the longest it's stayed at 12. I mean, it's stayed at 12 for, I just want to just show the history. I mean, usually it dips and it pops, dips and pops, dips and pops. It doesn't usually stay grounded like that. Right here, this area, I grounded for a few weeks and it popped, then it popped more. Here, it pretty much is doing what it did here, that it finally did pop right here. So it took a few weeks, and this we are what? We're definitely more leveled here than we were over here. Hovering down, tapping below 12 just about every day. I mean, just about once every week for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, and we've got like 8 weeks here before it pops. So we're due for something to happen. What it will be, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this probably won't be the last attempt on Trump's life. I mean, we're getting closer. The closer we get to November and elections, I think we're going to end up seeing some even crazier things happen. I mean, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we ends up having like some kind of like civil unrest, or China maybe going after Taiwan, or something major is going to end up happening. I don't know what it will be, but I'm sure something's going to happen big between now and November. What it will be, we have no idea. So I'm expecting VIX to pop this week. If not, maybe in the next couple weeks. Pop to at least 16, 18, or even 20 on VIX. SPY. It's hard to speculate. I mean, you just don't want to speculate too much. I mean, look at SPY's. The weekly RSI is like at 78. That's just crazy. It was like 78 right here, and it dumped down, and now we get a big bearish divergence going on because the RSI is flat, price is much higher, histogram's lower, big bearish divergence been going on for like weeks, months actually. And right here, this is what I think is really kind of telltale. You got higher highs, and each histogram is making a lower high. Three little pushes right there, and this one's lower, and this one's lower. Usually you just see one lower, then it just dumps. You don't usually see a like almost a trend line on the histogram like this. You don't usually see that. Usually you just see the bearish divergence, just a one like pop, and then it will just drop. So it's just kind of weird that you've got like three of them right here. So it's interesting to look from being like a chartist, if that's what you want to call it. It's kind of cool to see something like that. So now, as far as SPY, just don't underestimate SPY. SPY can continue to be ridiculous and stupid. It can rage on the dumbest things. We've seen Apple dump and SPY go, and the market is just delirious. So don't be surprised if it gets over like all-time high of like 563 if we push to 570. I mean, we could end up pushing to 600 before we have a pullback. Just don't underestimate SPY stupidity. Especially watch out for VIX to gap up, because I talked about this over the last few watch lists. If VIX gaps up, expect VIX to sell off and SPY to pop. Until that changes, it's been doing that for weeks, months, and expect more of the same. I mean, it's just the way it's been. So VIX would be the telltales pre-market. VIX gaps up, it's probably going to fade. SPY is probably going to gap and grind, I should say. So I would watch for it to push. It gets about 563. It's probably going to push to 570. Now, if we have a red day and it gets below 555, or we'll just say 556, 550, 545, 540, definitely in the cards, and we get down to get a gap fill right here at 538, 530, 525. SPY's got a ton of room to drop. I mean, it's gone crazy since October. I mean, it's gone almost 150 points in 8 months, 6 months, 8 months. So crazy. SPY, like I said, watch. We'll practically just make our decision pre-market how the VIX, what happens with the VIX on that. So Tesla, actually bring in Apple first. Apple did pull back for one day. Apple's just been going crazy. It's definitely outside the Keltner channel on the daily, way outside the Keltner channel on the weekly. Kind of surprised it actually pushed more over this trend line, but maybe Apple will dump. I don't know. So I would watch Apple underneath 230 for push down to 220, 225, 215, 200, 210. I mean, sorry, not 200. Yeah, 200 too, but I don't think we'll get that low. 210 maybe. Apple for a pullback. I don't like playing Apple. I'm not touching Apple. I hate Apple. I think the products are just garbage, rehashed, and for as far as options, playing options, they don't really go anywhere. Yeah, once in a while they do, but if you day trade it every day, they don't really go anywhere. So I don't play that. So I just bring it up on the watch list so people that do want to play it, they can. Tesla, I saw that Elon Musk fully endorsed Donald Trump, especially after what happened, and we'll have to see if that has any bearing on the stock. Because anything that Elon says basically has some kind of an effect on the stock. So we'll just have to see. So I would watch it over 250 for a push to 260, 270, and if something negative, the market reacts negative under 235 down to 220, it's going to gap fill at 215, at 210 to 200. 200 would be a big psychological number. So Tesla, watch from both sides. You don't know how the market's going to react, so definitely keep an eye on that. Meta had a big red day on Thursday, and it had a green day on Friday, but it was gapped down, and it could bounce right here at the it's under 500, but it bounced at 495, and it does like the bounce right here. So we'll have to see if it does bounce. But if it doesn't bounce and it loses 495, I'd watch for a gap fill down here to the 480 level. I wouldn't really even touch that. I don't really worry about the gap fill. If it does lose 495, watch for the gap fill on Meta. I'm not really interested on the call side, not with VIX being this low. But like I said, VIX could gap up. We've seen VIX gap up with SPY in the morning. So that's the market maker's sneaky, snaky way of getting the VIX to bleed more, so SPY has more room to run, because VIX is not like a stock. It measures volatility. It does not go to zero. It's a compressed spring. The more it's compressed, the more violent the bounce is going to be, and it's been compressed for 8-9 weeks this week, so it definitely needs to pop pretty big. So Microsoft, I didn't get an engulfing, no engulfing on the weekly, but I would watch it underneath this area of 450 or even 452, push to 450, 445, 440, then 430 on Microsoft to see if it does drop. But, you know, it could just end up going crazy again. I mean, nothing in this market makes any sense whatsoever. It's just FOMO after FOMO. But Netflix did have a engulfing, engulfing enough, close enough for weekly. 5 red days, so maybe it bounces this week, but I'd watch it underneath, we'll just say this low right here, 643, push to 640, down to 630, 620, basically every $10, 610, 600. Maybe Netflix pulls back, but Netflix earnings coming up pretty soon. Netflix likes to run on earnings, so if it doesn't drop, I would watch it over at 655 for a push to 660, 670, 680. I mean, Netflix loves to run on earnings, so I would have to, if Netflix runs pre-earnings, it's going to have a perfect, near perfect, no, it's going to have a perfect or better earnings in order to justify it being over 700 for earnings. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But Netflix does like to run on earnings, so keep an eye on that. Netflix is definitely a watch for both sides. NVIDIA. NVIDIA is one to watch for too. It pulled back and it bounced. It's got a tail candle here, but NVIDIA is one that just likes to put in tail candles and fake people out. A tail candle here, it drops and it pops. So I'm kind of wondering if we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to maybe pull down to 120 maybe. I push to 140, 150. So definitely NVIDIA. I mean, Nancy Pelosi, she just bought more NVIDIA. I mean, it could end up just going to 150 just on her. So we'll have to see what happens. This week, it's hard to tell what's going to happen this week. There's so much that's happened over the weekend. More details are going to come out over the next couple of days. And it's going to be a crazy week, so buckle up. And hope if you're not in the room, hope to see you there. See ya.